my weak ass Wi-Fi. Hear ye. I'm very excited, so I'm just gonna wait for people to come in here. You already know what it is. We in here. I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'm nervous, low-key. Low-key, I'm nervous. It's gonna be fun. Want to preface that, this is my first time ever speaking to Kamala Harris, so this is gonna be a big deal for me. Long-time listener, first-time caller. So we want to highlight Black voters. Today they say it's National Black Voters Day. You know me, I believe every day is National Black Voters Day. And when you guys come in here, I'm going to invite Kamala into my live and we're going to have a conversation. All right, how do I invite somebody into my live? Do I view? Oh, Jesus. I'm waiting for her. Everybody requesting to be in my live. Hold on, clear it out so that Kamala can come through. How's everybody feeling today? Let's do some breathing exercises. Let's create a positive space, everybody. A positive space for conversation and understanding and learning. Where's my, I'm waiting for Kamala's request. How's everybody feeling today? Blessed? Oh, wait. What? What's up, Kamala?
Wait, let me just tell you something. That happened to me at least for the first 2 or 3 times that I tried to do Instagram Live. It's rough. It can be rough.
There's a lot of people in here. I had to filter. I was like,
no, right, and it goes really quickly.
Well,
hey, LIZZO, how you doing?
You're somebody who I've wanted to talk to for a long time. So thank you for taking the time to speak to me today. I know you're busy.
You're welcome.
Where are you right now?
I am in DC.
Okay.
And I have been, let's see, I can't even keep up. I was in Philly yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I was in Fresno, California, because I was, the fires have been off, and meeting with families and firefighters. Where have I been? I've been in Michigan. I've been in Florida.
Well,
the campaign. You have roots everywhere too. And Texas too, right?
Where I'm from?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm from Texas, Detroit. I lived in Minneapolis. I'm in LA right now. So I definitely see the effect of the fires. Like, it's very smoky here by my house. So everything we can do to bring attention back.
If you can. Stay inside.
Stay inside?
If you can, yeah.
I'm already inside because, we're in a global pandemic as well. So I'm trying to keep people safe, keep myself safe. So yeah.
Yeah.
I know we don't have much time today. So I do have some questions for you, if that's okay.
Yes. I'm so happy to be with you. Yes.
Is it okay? I got some, it's a hard question. I want to get it out the way first, if that's okay. So first, I just want to say we live in a culture that demands accountability, especially from our public figures. Yeah. You and I are not excluded from that. We've both known our fair share of backlash. Yeah. I have seen backlash sometimes about your policies being anti-Black. We're talking about Black Voter Day. How do you feel about that? And how does that inform your campaign for VP so that Black people feel heard?
Here's the thing. I am a child of parents who marched and shouted for justice in the civil rights movement in the 1960s. There is not a Black man I know who has not been the subject of excessive force, racial profiling, or an unreasonable stop. And it was actually born out of my knowledge about the problems with trusting the system that made me decide to go inside the system to see if I could fix it from the inside. And that's why I created one of the first in the country programs focused on young men predominantly who have been arrested for drug sales and giving them jobs and counseling and support and dismissing the charges against them. That's why I focused on children, and particularly young girls who are being trafficked, and said they don't need to be arrested and put in juvenile hall. We need to create a safe house for them. Instead of calling them, young prostitutes, we need to understand that they have been bought and sold as though they are merchandise, and we need to protect them. During the time that I was Attorney General of California, I created initiatives that were some of the first in the nation around requiring statewide law enforcement to wear body cameras and keep them on. One of the first in the country to require police officers to have training for implicit bias and procedural justice. So that's the work that I've done. And it was, yes, it was about going in the system. But one of the things I have to say is we really ought to know the power that we have in every place and never decide that any one place is excluded from us being there to get the kind of change we want. Right? So I made the decision to go up the rough side of the mountain, to go inside the system. But I also understand, the brilliance of being outside of the system when you have the brilliance of Black Lives Matter and that movement and what it has done to force change. So there you go. But, and when we talk about the National Black Voter Day and Voting Day, it is about saying that each one of us should use our voice and own our power. And when we own our power, I think we know that there is no place that is off limits for us. Right. No matter what people might suggest.
Right. And the Black vote is so important, so much that we've seen intentional voter suppression tactics of the Black community. It's exhausting. So do you have any words for Black Americans who are feeling discouraged to vote? Because there's a lot.
I know. Here's the thing, LIZZO. I think about it in a number of ways. One of the reasons that we have historically voted once we got the right to vote, right, is, and let's just put that in context for a moment. Just recently, we were celebrating the passage of the 19th Amendment, 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote, right? But 100 years for that. But be clear, Black women couldn't start voting until 1965, right? The last big event before COVID hit for me was to go and walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge with John Lewis before he passed away. He shed his blood on that bridge for folks' right to vote, right? So one of the reasons that we know we need to vote is to honor the ancestors, those who shed their blood for our right to vote. But in addition, to your point, the reasons that we need to vote are because, one, there are so many issues at play right now. You take healthcare. You've been such a leader and a real international diplomat around COVID relief. I know the work you've been doing. You've been giving of yourself and your platform to help people all around the world, literally, who have been suffering from COVID. And so part of what we need to do is understand the issues that are at play in an election, right? Take, for example, COVID. Right now, Donald Trump has his boy, Bill Barr, in the United States Supreme Court trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. President Obama brought that policy together with Vice President Joe Biden, which gave health care to over 20 million people that didn't have access to health care, affordable health care. It said that people with pre-existing conditions like diabetes, like high blood pressure, should not be banned from coverage. It said that people as up to the age of 26 should be able to get on their parents' coverage, right? Things like that make a difference, especially when we're talking about Black folks. We see in COVID, all the pre-existing conditions that folks have made them more vulnerable. And Donald Trump's trying to get rid of the protection for people with pre-existing conditions. He's trying to get rid of access to affordable health care in the midst of a public health pandemic that has killed almost 200,000 people has been caught by over 6 million people in our country alone. And for Black folks, Black people in America are 3 times as likely to catch COVID and twice as likely to die from it. So back to the election, clear difference. Donald Trump's trying to get rid of coverage in the midst of a public health crisis. Joe Biden is saying we're going to expand coverage, including making sure that we cover the health care that we all need, not only from the neck down, but the health care that we need from the neck up, and that's called mental health care. Let's talk about the difference. Let's talk about what's happening in terms of the fact that Black families own 1/10 of the wealth of white families, right? And part of the issue, we can go through history about how we got here, but let's deal with the issue in terms of also what the solutions need to look like. It needs to be about increasing home ownership, right? One of the greatest sources of wealth for any American family. So our agenda is about tax credits for first-time homeowners of $15,000 to help them with down payment and closing costs to buy a home. We're saying there needs to be $100 billion focused and targeted on low interest loans for Black and brown small business owners, right? Because access to capital is one of the biggest issues in terms of whether somebody can start a small business. We have so many entrepreneurs. I mean, you're such an incredible entrepreneur, right? People have creative ideas about how to create something, but they just need capital, somebody to invest in them and their plans. We're going to put $70 billion into HBCUs. I'm a proud graduate of Howard University, right?
All right.
Right? Our HBCUs are the line of so many talented people who have ended up becoming national and international leaders. So these are the things. But here's the third point I want to make about voting. People have got to, I was doing an event in North Carolina earlier before we got on this call. People have to also sit back, Black folks in particular have to sit back and ask a question, which is why are so many people trying to make it so difficult for us to vote? Putting in place rules like what they've done in Georgia, because otherwise Stacey Abrams will be Governor Stacey Abrams, right? Trying to suppress the vote, trying to purge the voter rolls. Why are they making it so difficult, trying to confuse us? Why are they trying to make it so difficult for us to vote? And the answer is this, because when we vote, things change. When we vote, we have a say in who our leaders are. And so part of what I want to just remind everybody on this National Black Voter Day is let's not let anybody take our power. Don't ever let anybody take your power. And in this case, our power to vote, and that being an expression of our voice.
Wow. I mean, and speaking of power, if we have you in the House as the VP, that would be incredible, and you would have such a position of power, and it's quite an inheritance you're signing up for, when you're taking on everything, the good and the bad with this country. I have a question, like, for you, how will Black people be included in your legacy and inheritance as Vice President of America?
Yeah, well, my mother had many sayings, and one of them she would say, Kamala, you may be the first to do many things. Make sure you're not the last. Throughout my career, I have mentored and supported so many folks who are, now in great positions of leadership, and then those who are students and making their way through the process. And that's very important to me because truly, to your point, I think that the thing that is going to be most important as a marker of any of our success is who we brought up, who we uplifted, who, for whom we expanded the entry so that many more could walk through. And so, but specifically, Joe Biden and I have a commitment that we will name to the United States Supreme Court a Black woman. We've never had a Black woman on the United States Supreme Court. You hear me?
You got me. You got me.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Power. Those folks who interpret the Constitution of the United States and make decisions about things like Brown v. Board of Education, whether we're going to desegregate the schools of America. It's going to be about making sure that we have a cabinet that's diverse. I mean, think about Joe Biden for a minute. And again, this is an election where you have two choices in terms of president. A Donald Trump, who has spent full time trying to sow hate and division, or a Joe Biden who had the audacity to pick a Black woman to be on his ticket, right? And what that means in terms of also a commitment that he has, and independently I have, to make sure that we have full representation. And that's about the cabinet. It's also about policies that create a pathway, because it creates support for folks to do the kind of work that they want to do and need the support to do. And there's just so much at stake, Lizzo.
Yeah.
Tell me how you doing. Tell me how you.
I'm good. I'm great. You know,
Yeah.
I'm working on music right now. I was driving to the studio and I saw a poster and it said Biden. Have you seen those? It's like Bydon, but it's Biden, but it's Biden.
Oh, like Donald Trump. Oh, that's good.
I was like, oh, people are getting very creative.
Yes.
I did notice though, like the general consensus right now is like anyone but Trump 2020, you know? And that's fine, but I also feel like, you know, the American people deserve more. We deserve a public servant, you know? And I'm curious, what is the heart of y'all's campaign?
It really is about lifting up the soul and the condition of the American people, and treating people with dignity. You know, I mean, that's how I was raised. You treat people with dignity, right? And you don't let anybody take your dignity from you, but you treat people with dignity. And we need leadership that does that. And that's a big part of the essence of who we are. And it's about also just lifting up folks in terms of, I mean, everything, again, in terms of public health, this public health crisis, in terms of the economy, making sure that people have jobs. You know, we're fighting for $15 minimum wage, but I also know nobody aspires to have a minimum wage job. So we also are committed to making sure that we have the training in place and we have the job opportunities that are in place in terms of the creation of new jobs and innovation, so that people can be on a path that is about taking care of themselves and their families.
I just think it's so important to hear from y'all and to know, just to ask you straight up to your face, like how you feel about these things. 2020 has just been a year, you know, for all of us. It just feels like one thing after the next. Some people have experienced loss and hardships worse than others, but it's hard for everyone. It's hard for America right now. And, you know, I really want to know how you feel about all of these issues that are coming up and how you're going to address them. Because it's not just a regular election where you guys have to debate about the issues. This is a 2020 election where there's actual things that we've never seen before in America happening that you have to address now. You
know, it's so funny, Lizzo, with the way you say it. I couldn't agree with you more. And the way I think about it is that there has been so much loss, and it's loss of life, loss of a loved one, loss of jobs, loss of normalcy, loss of consistency. And you know, folks are grieving. I mean, one of the things that we're not talking enough about, you know, while you and I are having real talk, is the levels of depression that people are experiencing. The, you know, people feeling alone, feeling that they don't have any power in their circumstance. And a large part of the thing I think about is what we need to do in terms of giving people, you know, help and assistance around the trauma that people are experiencing, trauma that's going undiagnosed and untreated. And a lot of that is a part of what we're doing in terms of our focus on healthcare. I think about people coming out of high school, coming out of college, and you know, we're talking about folks who, you know, have dreams and aspirations and looking at what this economy is in terms of job prospects. I think about people who are in their 30s and went through, you know, may have been, you know, we just commemorated 9/11 19 years ago. And people who came into being and came into their consciousness and their consciousness around, you know, 9/11, and then went through the Great Recession and now going through this. That's a lot. To your point, it's a lot. And we need to see the people. And I think that's one of the big differences between Joe and me and what you see in a Donald Trump, right? Which is, you got to see the people and care about the people and lead in the name of the people, not in the name of yourself and your personal interests. And that's another big difference. That's another big difference. Okay, let me ask you something. I heard you are now vegan. Is that
Mhm.
right?
I am.
You are. How's that going? You know, I tried to be vegan before 6.
Oh, it didn't work?
No, it does mostly, but now that I'm on the campaign trail, you know, sometimes I just
Right.
gotta have a cheeseburger.
I feel you. Well, you know, for me, I love to cook. So veganism has been very explorative and fun for me. A big part of why I love being vegan is because of the environment.
Yeah.
It ties in so like intrinsically with saving the earth and
Yeah.
the deforestation and the way things are going. Like the future is plant-based.
Yeah.
If we want a future, you know, the future of the earth. And it's been lit. It's been lit. I'm getting into it. You know, I got my little hay straws over here.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
doing my part.
And it's, you know, and so you're learning vegan recipes, you know, because when I do that, that's like a lot of lentils and beans, right? There's a lot of protein in things that are not meat.
Yeah, there's a lot of protein and things, but that's also the way we were educated about food. You know what I'm saying? We gotta really look.
Rethink that, huh?
We gotta reimagine how we teach people how to eat. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, child. There you go. That's another thing. That's another thing to add to the list right there.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
food
I
and
do agree with you.
schools and our food system is so interesting over here in America. Like it took me, I had to unlearn that, you know, hot Cheetos and Sprite, that was what I was eating after band practice. And I had to unlearn that. Like, I should have been drinking water. I should have been having protein. That's why I was dizzy, or that's why this happened, you know?
Right.
Unlearning health and relearning, it shouldn't happen later on in life. It should happen as a child. We should be taught that in schools, and also not just taught that, but that should be, you know, readily available to us.
No, that's, and you know, and to your point, we don't realize how much what we yearn or crave is an acquired taste, meaning we were not born craving sugar. We were not born craving salt. These things were acquired taste, and you can retrain yourself, right? In terms of what you crave and what you want to eat. Yeah.
It's delicious, but everything in balance.
Yeah.
In moderation. You know what I mean? Are you interested in that, like food justice and health?
Oh yeah, yeah, I am, and on a number of levels. One around what we need to, you know, and Michelle Obama was so good about this too,
True.
right? It was, you know, really one of the first high-profile leaders who used her voice in such a powerful way, right? And so it's about, to your point, sustainable, right, growth of food, and what we need to do around healthy food, and it's, but also how, to your point, how we reimagine what we eat and how we eat and when we eat. Right? All of that. But the piece about water, you know, and I come from California where we have, you know, my entire life experienced drought, intermittent drought. And so what that means in terms of how we think about the future of food and what we grow. And I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, this is what makes where we are now exciting in one way. Out of the crisis, there are real opportunities for innovation if we have the courage to engage in what that might look like, and to your point, just and reimagine it all.
I have to ask you some questions that were on my Instagram post because it was the most liked comment, and I gotta ask. Sang C. Jane asked, Lizzo, if you read this, and you've kind of touched on some of these points, but I want to reiterate, Lizzo, if you read this, please ask her Harris, what will she be doing for the Black community, specifically concerning defunding the police and investing money into poor Black neighborhoods?
Yeah. So again, this is about reimagining what we do going forward. And in this particular case, reimagining how we achieve safety. And so here's how I think about it. If you go to any upper middle class suburb in America, you will not see the kind of police presence that you see in other communities, right? But what you will see are well-funded public schools. What you will see are high rates of home ownership. What you will see are families that have a job that gives them an income where they don't need to worry about putting food on the table at the end of the month. What you will see are families that have that can afford access to health care, including mental health care. What you will see are small businesses that have access to capital. Those are the attributes of a healthy community. And a healthy community is a safe community.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I talk so much about, our plan that's about investing $100 billion in low interest loans for minority businesses. That's why I talk so much about what we need to do in terms of expanding healthcare. Joe and I have a whole plan around increased Title I funding, which is basically a fancy way of talking about funding that goes to low-income neighborhoods and schools that are in those neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I talk about what we need to do to increase home ownership, because we have to reimagine this, and we have to understand that you can't think that the only way to create safe communities is to put more police on the streets. That's just, that's not how it's going to work. That's not how it can work. That's not how it will work. We need to invest in communities. So that's how I think about it.
Mm-hmm. And then another common question was, how will you guys help the LGBTQIA+ community moving forward and help them feel seen and protected?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's a big, big issue. So let me just tell you, I have been an ally of the LGBTQ community since the beginning of my life and career. And in fact, I was Attorney General of California.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big issues when I fought that race, and I ended up becoming the first Black woman to be Attorney General of California, and only the second Black woman in the country to become an Attorney General of a state. The big difference between me and my opponent was I said I will not defend Proposition 8, which was that law in California that banned same-sex marriage. He said he would defend that ban on same-sex marriage. It was one of our biggest fights. And throughout my career, I have stood against legal and any other form of discrimination and fought for the rights of people who love each other to be protected by the law. And that their love be acknowledged by all of society. I have worked on the issue of what we need to do around our transgender community. Black transgender women, the violence,
Mm-hmm.
the predators, right? And what we need to do to protect and to give dignity and to give respect. Let's talk about it in terms of LGBTQ youth, especially those who are fleeing a home or a community or a state where they are experiencing, everything from mild forms of veiled prejudice to real brutality. And what we need to do there, what we need to do to pass the Equality Act, because we're still fighting to make sure that when it comes to public services, when it comes to housing rights, employment rights, that people are treated equally under the law. Joe Biden was one of the first elected people at that stature in terms of when he was vice president to speak openly about the legal rights and his support of the legal rights of our LGBTQ brothers and sisters. I performed the first marriage of a same-sex couple after the Supreme Court made its decision, and I was very proud to do that. So I will always stand with the community and for the community, and there's still so much work to be done. It is truly one of the civil rights issues of our time, and there's still a lot of work to do to fight for equality.
And it's almost overwhelming when you think about all of the things that we have to do to have a safer, better country. And it's not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not even going to happen in 4 years. You know what I mean? But we do need to know that whoever we're passing the baton to is thinking about it and is listening. That's all we want. We just want to feel like somebody's listening to us and they see us. So I feel like y'all see us. You know what I'm saying? You're doing the work. And the fact that you're talking to me today and listening to my questions, you didn't even know I was going to ask you. I was like, I hope she don't get mad at some of these questions.
No.
I had to know.
I appreciate you asking those questions. Listen, we got to be direct. We got to be honest. We got to speak truth.
Yeah.
That's the way we're going to get through this mess.
Period.
And get on the other side.
And to your point earlier about the Black vote, like, it's literally, it could save a life.
That's right. LIZZO, I want to thank you. This is just a joy. I'm such a huge fan of yours. You know, you like girl has been on my playlist.
Hey, okay.
And also all the work that you have done. It takes a lot of courage for someone, an artist, right, to speak out, you know, and you've got your fans and, you know, but to speak out on issues, that takes a lot of courage. There are plenty of artists who do not do it. And what you are doing, it really speaks to who you are, which is, you bring joy, but you also use that powerful voice of yours. And that voice is powerful. You use it in so many ways that's about lifting people up. So thank you for that. Thank you.
And thank you so much again for this talk. Like, I mean, I couldn't be an artist and not reflect the times. You know, Nina Simone said it best. And I'm going to continue to be watching you on the campaign trail. And I hope to talk to you again soon. I know you
like that.
have work to do.
No, we're going to do that.
All right, I'm going to make you a vegan meal. We're gonna be good.
And I've got recipes. So we will definitely have that conversation. I'm serious.
All right. Well,
okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. So the moral of the story is vote, 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 vote. Do not be discouraged. Do not feel swayed either way. But just use your voice, period. I feel like I have an insane amount of privilege to be able to speak to a candidate, you know, for president or vice presidency of the United States. I never thought in my life I'd be able to, you know, do that. But the fact that I can was important for me because I need to know things. I got a lot of questions and I need to know. I tried to ask a couple of the most common questions or the most liked questions. And I hope that, you know, you guys got as much information as I did. What I learned was that Kamala has done work and Kamala is ready to face any question that comes her way. And let's just try to bring forth positive change to this nation. I know we all tired. We are all tired. And I'm ready to just move forward. I'm ready to move into progress. And if I got to protest to get progress, baby, so be it. Let's go. So that's the moral of the story, y'all. We're going to end this with the Negro National Anthem. Please join in. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound deep as the rolling sea. Take it away, y'all. Sing. Come on. Sing a song. I'm just playing, y'all. I hope y'all have a great day. I hope that was informative, and hit me with more questions. We have the power to make a change. Little old me can talk to a candidate for presidency of the United States and hopefully have some sort of influence and hopefully get some answers and feel like I can make a change. You can make a change too. So register to vote if you have not. Do your mail-in or do your in-person. Be safe, wear a mask, and get information. Stay informed. Have questions for everything. Do research. Be vigilant. We deserve it. We deserve more than anybody but Trump 2020. We deserve somebody who gonna serve us, do us justice, give us our free us. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I'm about to go. Let me save this life.